This is True Crime Kent.
All right, here it is, part 2 of Armin Meiwes up. And when we left Armin Meiwes at the end of part 1, he was gallivanting around his old farmhouse with Mama's floral dresses on, jerking off to pictures of sausage dicks, and scouring the darkest corners of the internet for porn that only Ted Cruz would find enjoyable.
What does that even mean?
Things were, to say the least, not going super dope for Armin Meiwes.
I could have sworn when we last left Armin Meiwes, I had just made the best dad joke ever.
It's a shame because the audience isn't even going to get to hear it. That was lost on the cutting room floor.
Oh, you son of a... That's so mean. So mean. Do you want me to say it again?
Maybe at the end.
Okay, I'll try.
Just so you know. Armin had, however, posted a romance ad looking for somebody to be digested. And he had, it turned out, found a suitable candidate in a man by the name of Bernd Brandes. And that, I would say that pretty much catches us up. We've got a cannibal that's obsessed with doing cannibalisms.
Can I just add?
What?
204. What the? Really?
204
people
filled out this job resume to be eaten.
I mentioned that number to my wife, and she was like, there are that many people who are just interested in just disappearing. Like, just...
That many people in a little radius of this German town. That's not the world. That's like...
Yeah, of the readership. You're right, because it was like a newspaper ad.
How many people are on their way to Subway walking down the road, like, and they're not even doing all this internet stuff, and in the back of their head, they're like, God, I'd like for somebody to eat my dick.
I really thought it was interesting, the kind of poetic, I mean, very dark, but poetic way that he had talked about just being no more, you know, just disappearing by
Yeah, because that's hot to him for some reason, is not just dying, but completely... Yeah, Brandes is obsessed with non-existence.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He wants his body to be pulverized, which is so odd. It's a thing, I don't know, it's so odd.
It's also, like I said last time, it's a once in a lifetime thing. You can't take it back. It's crazy.
It's also a lot of pressure on your lover.
Yeah, I'd say.
Like, I just want you to say dirty things every now and then. You don't have to fuck me out of existence.
Yeah, there's not a lot of sustainability in that. It's
Jeepers. Now that Armin had set a date for eating a willing participant in Brandes, he decided it was time to start preparing his house for the butchering. Well, not his house, specifically one room, but how would you romantically prepare a room for a date that you knew you were going to eat? Like maybe put out a Yankee candle, some bugle corn chips.
I'm thinking, my mind instantly goes to, oh my gosh, the pressure of having the right Spotify playlist. And you don't want to have the wrong song. You don't want to have like, and my legs don't work like they used to. You don't want the wrong song playing.
Maybe put on some Butthole Surfers, Pepper.
Yeah.
I don't mind the sun sometimes, the images it shows. I can taste you on my lips and smell you in my clothes. I can see that playing while you, like, enjoy a penis with somebody.
Yeah. Sharon's outlook on the topic of disease.
Yeah.
That's a banger. That's just a banger. I love that song.
Bobby was a racist. They were both in love with dying. They were doing it. Texas. It was Texas. Right?
Texas, yeah.
So Armin starts preparing the smokehouse room on the second floor. And I don't know why. I've never lived in a house with a smokehouse, but in my weird backwoods redneck head, I went, that's a weird place to have a smokehouse on the second floor. Seems like a ground level room to me, but whatever. But in that smokehouse room, he began preparing the butchering room, and he hung meat hooks and then constructed a trowel to drain the blood from Brandez's body. He's like, yeah, that'll get him going. He'll think this is hot. He also dragged a bed frame and a mattress up to the smokehouse room and set it up in the middle. This is a creepy, old, dirty, dusty room, right? There's a mattress in the middle of it. He takes a step back and looks at this smelly old room with a single bed in the middle. The bed has a huge piss stain in it. And he's like, nice. Very nice. He attaches a pulley to the ceiling so that the body could be hung upside down by its feet. Drags an old patio table into the room beside the bed, and he's got that was going to be used as the butcher's bench. He also arranges an assortment of knives and an axe on that patio table. And then he goes about collecting all the mattresses from the, because remember, this is a 30-bedroom house, all the mattresses from the guest bedrooms and lining them along the walls so that sound couldn't escape. It's all come together very nicely.
Yeah.
This is going to drive Brandez fucking crazy when he sees it. And I've seen pictures of this room, by the way. They exist on the internet. And it really looks like something out of Saw. Not hot. If you said, describe 3 words, one of them would not be sexy.
Very Hellraiser-like.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like 50 shades of gray. It's like 50 shades of cannibal gay.
You know what? I gotta say, that book would sell just as well.
It would. I'd read it. I would read it.
Jess has explained some of her books she's read, and I'm like, that's exactly what the title of the book you just said was. It's so, she's saying no, but her body's saying yes.
On Friday, March 9th, 2001, this is the day where they're to meet up, and on this day, the soon-to-be meal, burned Brandez wakes up beside his boyfriend, a man by the name of Rene, like every other day. And he gets up and shaves like every other day, showers like every other day. But one thing he does differently is wipe the search history, emails, and everything else from his computers. Clears them, cleans them out. And this is because he knows he's getting ready. On this day, he's going to go missing. And he's trying to stop anybody from finding his whereabouts. While Rene was sleeping, he lays out a copy of the will that he had made a few days prior and writes Rene's name on the front of it. He doesn't put it in an obvious place. He kind of hides it a little bit so that he'll eventually find it. Brandez loved and cared for Rene, but Rene just wasn't the kind of man that loved Brandez enough to kill him, cut his penis off, and eat it. He would never be enough.
You got to find the right lover. That's, I think it's a universal thing.
You do.
You do.
Brandez then gets dressed, and he left like he did every other morning without waking Rene up. Only he doesn't go to work up. He had called in to work that day. Instead of going to work, Brandez went to the train station and bought a one-way ticket to Castle, where he had arranged to meet Armin Meiwes on the train platform there. He also avoided having breakfast that morning because he had read on the internet that fasting before being slaughtered would make his meat tastier and the slaughter cleaner. So he's like almost seasoning himself, which is interesting. Should have eaten some of that stale cracker Cajun two-step. This meat would be money, dude. That's money, dude. Do you know that guy?
No.
It's like a white dude. Talk like this, dude. He cooks all the time. He has a spicy sales on. Yeah, Jess has seen him. She's doing he's a very funny personality. White dude down in like Louisiana. And he has spices that are available in Walmart called two-step. He's like, we're going to hit it with that Cajun, dude. That Cajun two-step, dude. That's money, dude.
Is he the white guy that does the Instagram ones where he's like always showing off his drip? Where he's like, check out the outfit. Oh,
yeah, he's a very likable dude.
Oh, okay, I've seen him then. He has this one line that he always says.
Yeah,
like
that's money, dude.
Okay. That's one. That's a line.
It's that line I said 6 times.
Yeah, I guess that's the one.
Yeah. But I would just I don't know if I would, maybe I would avoid eating if somebody was going to eat me, but I would also try to eat a whole bunch of that Cajun two-step.
What you want to be like a 4th of July Russian doll when they open you up. It's just like, bloosh.
In my head, it's like seasoning seasoning everything. Maybe have some chitlins.
Marinating your insides is what you're doing.
Chungus chitlins.
Yeah.
Isn't chitlins intestines?
Yes, it is.
Meanwhile, so Brandes, he's waking up. He's pretending to go to work. He's leaving a wheel for his boyfriend, Renee. Meanwhile, Armin had also called into work that day, and he'd also gotten up early, only he had ate a light breakfast. And then he goes out to the grocery store and stocks up on bottles of red Merlot. He buys Brussels sprouts, porcini mushrooms, potatoes, olive oil, and garlic. He's preparing to cook a meal fit for a cannibal king here. Very excited. He also, by the way, gets some candles for a romantic atmosphere.
It's just so wild to me to think about how he thinks this is going to go.
In their head, there's nothing illegal going on here.
And that they're going to be like staring into each other's eyes while they're cutting parts of his body off. Like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not going to be peaceful. It's not going to be clean. Anyway.
I mean, I don't want to spoil this story, but until the police get involved, everything kind of goes well.
Yeah.
After Armin puts he goes to the grocery, comes home. After he puts the finishing touches on his slaughter room, he gets in his car and heads to the Castle As Bahnhof Wilhelmshohe. Bahnhof Wilhelmshohe. That train station. To meet and pick up Brandes. And after waiting on the platform for a few minutes, a train pulls up. And Brandes steps off the train. The two immediately notice each other because they had been exchanging pictures, both professionally taking pictures and dick pics and stuff. They knew each other. They knew what they looked like. They came to each other face to face, and the first thing that Brandes, the meal, said to Armin was, quote, "I am your Kate. I am your flesh. I hope you'll find me tasty." Unquote. That's very notebookish.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Very sweet.
He'd been thinking of that one.
Yeah, he's like, what's something that memorable that I can say whenever I get off this train? Because this is definitely going to end up in a podcast episode.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Because, the last things he says aren't going to be that poetic, so he's got to.
Actually, it's funny. The last thing he says is, "Ah! Ah!"
Now your wife's going to come down and wonder what's going on.
Yeah.
Jess knows it too. We know your family too well. We know your wife.
She'll be down here in a minute.
Yep.
On the way to the Armin house, so they get in his car, the two men stop at a pharmacy and buy a packet of sleeping tablets and a bottle of schnapps. So they're going to have a party. It's like a Jess party. We're going to fucking get crazy tonight. Let's stop, get a bottle of sleeping pills and some schnapps. Some booger sugar. When they get to Armin's house there in Westerfeld, Armin gives Brandes a tour of the house, and then Armin goes into the kitchen to make him some coffee. But while he's in there making coffee, Brandes is busy in the living room. Because when Armin comes back into the living room carrying the coffee, Brandes is sitting in the chair, a wicker chair, by the way, butt-ass naked. Completely naked by the coffee table, clothes just in a heap in the floor. And of all the chairs that you could sit in naked, you don't want to sit in a wicker chair butt naked. That's going to leave like a weave pattern on your behind.
Yeah.
He's just sitting there naked, and Armin stops dead center when he sees him sitting there naked, looks him up and down, and says, quote, "Oh, you look absolutely delicious. What a sight." Unquote. And I'm going to try to make this sexy because I know that you like these kind of sexy scenes. There's two beautiful men here. Brandes then stood up. All right. And when he stopped standing, his wiener probably bounced a little bit. And then he undressed Armin And now the two of them are both naked, and then they sat down there in the living room and drank coffee together naked while talking about cannibalism and getting hard. And I think naked is the scariest way to drink coffee, honestly.
Yeah, that'd be risky.
Feel vulnerable. After the coffee, Armin showed Brandes the slaughter room that he had made for him, and Brandes absolutely loved it. Thought it was perfect. It was everything he had ever imagined in his fantasies and dreams. The piss stain was right where it was supposed to be, on the greasy mattress without a fitted sheet. It was just like everything he wanted. The slaughter hook, the meat hooks, just the real grossness. It was everything Brandes had wanted. That's when Armin pulls out a video camera, puts it on a tripod, and aims it at the bed. And the two of them lay down on the bed, smoked cigarettes for a few hours, and then did butt fucks. Ugh. So they just fuck each other's asses for a few hours. They would stop in between ass fuckings and smoke a cigarette, talk a little bit, and then do ass fuck again. I've got right here, they also talked about everything under the sun. They lay there and talked about stuff, and that's pretty gay.
That part. That's what you...
Lay there and they talked about their feelings. That's pretty gay.
Okay.
After laying together and dozing off for a few hours, so they lay around, they do butt fucks, and they talk, and then they kind of get halfway asleep and wake up. After doing that for a few hours, Brandes eventually sits up straight, like he's forgotten something, and says he's ready to have his penis bitten off. He needs it to be done, like, right now. Suddenly it became he's like, I just realized you haven't even bitten my dick off and eaten it yet. We've been here for like 4 hours. Look, this thing is still here. So he stands up and presents it. And Armin gets on his knees in front of Brandes. And Armin leans forward and holds it at the base. And wraps his warm, moist mouth around the hard wiener.
You're pausing way too much. This is like too much pausing.
I'm trying to build tension.
It's
a sexy story, and I'm trying to build tension.
Yeah. Okay.
Ugh. He moves his mouth up and down the shaft of the penis. This man does, and the gristle of his mustache rubs the top of the shaft as he tries to take it all into his throat as much as he can. I'll be honest, I don't know how long he blew him. This part wasn't in the book. I may be pontificating. Is that the word you used?
Sounds like you're porntificating.
He does put Brandes' penis in his mouth, wraps his mouth around the hard wiener, and then he clenches down as hard as he can, just like a Doberman. But no matter how hard he bites, he does like the gator thing, like trying to get it off.
Yeah.
All he does is draws blood. Wieners are hard to bite off, surprisingly hard to bite off. Dicks are.
Yeah.
And what little he was biting down and chewing, like, Brandes was loving it. He was like, oh, yes. He kept saying, bite harder, harder, bite it off. Even when the blood started coming, bite it off. And after really gnawing on it for a few moments while Brandes is moaning in excitement and cheering him on, Armin finally gives up and sits on the bed defeated, just embarrassed. Because he couldn't bite his dick off. He's just like, oh. And we've all been there. We know, like, when you're not doing something right in the bed, like maybe it's something new to you, and you feel like you didn't deliver 100% because, like, you're just sitting on the bed, just like. And to make it even worse, Brandes was heartbroken. He's just bleeding from his dick, and it's still there. And, like, there's a moment where the two are just upset and ashamed. Like, Armin is ashamed that he couldn't bite Brandes' dick off, and Brandes is upset that Armin hadn't bitten his dick off.
I gotta be honest, that is a series of sentences that I never thought that I would have to, one, listen to on a podcast, and then two, also, I found myself going, yeah, I could understand how they,
Yeah.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah. He's just wanting to get that nut for this last time.
Oh.
He's wanting to get a nut for the last time that it doesn't just dribble down his balls. Because from here on out, you're really going to have to collect his semen off the bottom of his sack. Because it's just... I mean, this is an argument that's went down with couples a million times in history. Shame, anger. But then Brandes had an idea. Because the reason that Armin stopped was Brandes was howling and everything. But he's like, I know it sounds like I'm in pain, but like, I love it. I love it. I would really have appreciated if you had taken it off completely with your teeth. Brandes is like, I've got an idea. I'll sedate myself. And then you don't have to worry about me dealing with any kind of pain. And Armin's like, that's a splendid idea, old chap. I don't know if that's what he said.
Right, yeah.
And Armin ran downstairs excitedly to the bathroom medicine cabinet and grabbed a bottle of Wix Metonate, which is a cough and cold mixture. He ran it back up and Brandes downed it in one gulp, the whole bottle, the entire thing. And then the two of them just kind of sat there on the bed waiting for Brandes to get tired. And I don't know what kind of conversations they had. They said he sat there for about an hour, over an hour, hour and a half, and probably talked about the weather.
Yeah.
Inflation.
Deflation.
The war in Iraq.
Yeah.
Wait, this is 2001. We don't even... Yeah, the war in Iraq.
9/11.
9/11. Just waiting for this cough medicine to kick in so he can have his dick bitten off. But it never happened. He never got sleepy. And that led to more frustration. And the frustration led to anger. And eventually, Brandes tells Armin, take me back to the train station. I'm going home. You aren't the man for me.
Yeah, so he's gonna get on a train and try to handle the rest of his life with like a damaged unit.
Yeah, he's like, if I wanted the man that couldn't bite my dick off and eat it in front of me, I would have just stayed with Renee. When I got up this morning and left that beautiful man laying in bed, it was only because I thought I'd found somebody that could successfully bite my cock off and eat it in front of me.
He's going to have some explaining to do. You ever tried to explain, like, you seen the girl or boy with the hickey, and that's hard to explain. What's this? It's a very precise bite.
It's as if it had to be in someone's mouth.
You would think.
And now it's probably got a crick in the middle. Probably looks shaped like a lightning bolt now. I didn't sign up to get fucked by Harry Potter. The two of them get in the... what are we doing?
I don't know.
The two of them get in the car, so he's like, hey, take me back to the train station. The two of them get in the car, and they start the 1 hour drive back to the train station. And the entire way there, Armin is apologizing and saying, I could get it right if you just give me another chance. I can bite your dick off. I can. You only gave me one chance. I'm not soft like that. I'm soft, but I am not soft. If you'll give me a chance, one more shot, baby, I can get that dick off of you. If you'll just give me another chance.
Yeah, I think Brandes might have been using a little reverse psychology here.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe this is an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
At the train station, they get to the train station. Brandes buys a ticket home, and then the two of them begin waiting on the platform for the train while Armin continues to beg Brandes to give him another chance. Give him another chance. And eventually Brandes agrees. He's like, fine, okay, but I'm serious. I'm serious. I'm going home if you don't get it right this time. And that's when the two of them go back to Armin's car in the parking lot. When they get back to the car, Brandes turns up another 180 milliliter bottle of cold medicine. This is 2 full bottles of cold medicine in like 2 hours. But he then chases that bottle with 10 Vivinox sleeping pills.
See, right there, that tells me he knew it. He knew this was reverse psychology, because he wouldn't have had that stuff on him had he not planned on acquiescing.
Yeah, I feel like trying to find somebody that would to bite your dick off and eat it in front of you is like, a lot of people would handle that the way they do anal. It's like, yeah, you talk a big game when we're sitting at Applebee's. eating appetizers. It's easy to agree to anal over a basket of fried pickles. But when push comes to shove, you back out. Forward. Yeah. So Brandes slams another bottle of cold medicine and 10 Vivinox sleeping pills. He then turns to Armin and says, quote, "Now that's got to work, surely. I should be sleeping like a baby cannibal victim in a few hours."
What's weird is, doing all that would basically take him out of the picture as far as his participation. So
you would think, but I don't know if this man had a history of sleeping pill and cold medicine abuse, but he was surprisingly resilient to all these sleeping pills and cold medicine because he's not even finished yet. Because on the way back to Armin's house, keep in mind at this point he's had 2 full bottles of cold medicine and 10 sleeping pills. On the way back to Armin's house, he drinks a half a bottle of schnapps and 10 more sleeping pills. We are now at 20 sleeping pills, 2 bottles of cold medicine, and a half a bottle of liquor.
I'd wager that if you have a resistance to that much, regardless of what they're doing at this point, I would say just in the grand scheme, I don't think you're happy with life if you are imbibing that much. Anybody that I know that can outdo people with pot or alcohol or whatever and just stare you straight in the eyes and be like, I did it. I did that. They've always got a problem in life.
Probably. I used to do that with booze.
And did you have a problem in life?
Yep, still do. By the time they arrived home, Brandes was understandably loopy, drunk, and dizzy. And I feel like that would be the least of how you were feeling. I would be dead. That would kill me. I know Jess could probably still do complex mathematics.
Yeah.
She could operate heavy machinery still after this concoction. At 6:30 p.m., so they arrived back to the house at 6:30 p.m. The two of them stumble back into the house and up to the slaughter room where Brandes throws himself down on the bed in the middle on his back and says, quote, "Castrate me, Armin, then kill me. Now. Do it now. Get rid of it." Unquote. Get rid of this thing. Armin turns on the radio.
He did.
We don't know what was on the radio. This is 2001, probably maybe 3 doors down.
I'm blue, gaga, bee, baba, da. I'm in need of a guy. I'm in need of a guy.
If I go crazy, will you still call me Superman? Turns on the radio, turns the camera back on, and grabs a kitchen knife from the butcher's table. While Armin's getting ready at the butcher's table, Brandes stands up and gets undressed, gets his dick hard, and retrieves a cutting board. Brandes then he puts the cutting board on the table, lays his penis across the cutting board, and that's when Armin approaches him with the kitchen knife. Brandes looked at Armin and said, quote, "Do it now!" And that's when Armin raises the knife and brings it down hard at the base of Brandes' wiener.
Why does it sound weird when you say wiener? You never say wiener. It's like the anti-swear. It sounds
down hard on the base of Brandes' appendage. His fuck appendage.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds more like you.
But the knife wasn't sharp enough up.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, I don't know what Brandes' cock was made out of, if he wrapped it in Kevlar. This is Robocock. I don't know what he made it, but it just cut the wiener. It didn't cut it off. It cut it maybe a third of the way through and just bled all over the cutting board. Armin brought the knife back down again, but it still didn't get through it. Defeated and embarrassed again, Armin stopped, stepped back, and said, quote, "I'm beginning to despair myself." That's when Brandes responded, quote, "Go and get a sharper knife. Go downstairs to the kitchen and find one," unquote. Armin ran downstairs, grabbed a butcher's chopping knife, and then brought it back up for round 2. This is technically round 3 of trying to get this cock off.
Right.
This time it worked up. After 3 solid swipes at the base of the wiener, it finally separated from Brandes while he screamed and howled in agony and pleasure. Just, oh, yes. Oh.
Your wife is probably going to go upstairs now, like away from you.
After the penis was severed, Brandes looked down at his wiener laying there on the cutting board, smiled, and said, quote, "How about an appetizer before your banquet? One that I can share," unquote. You see, Brandes had many dreams. Not just the one dream of having his penis cut off, and not just the dream of having somebody else eat his penis in front of him. He also had a dream. He wanted to eat some of it himself. He wanted to enjoy his own cock. He wanted to eat his own cock. He wanted somebody to cut his cock off and eat it in front of him, and he wanted to enjoy that meal with that person. And Armin thought that sounded like a great idea. So they wrapped Brandes in bandages. He had brought a med kit up there. And it said that, Armin later said that when they got done, it looked like Brandes was wearing a giant diaper.
I was going to say.
It's like, how do you wrap that wound? You know, there's not really, unless you left a stub to like maybe put a pop clamp or something over, like you just got to wrap him in a giant diaper. And then after they got him wrapped up in his diaper, one of them grabs the dick in one hand, and the two men, the book said, giddily ran downstairs, which I really like to picture in my head. Just, they're like, one's in a diaper. There's a dick flopping in one hand. They run downstairs to the kitchen to cook the penis and eat it together. It's very romantic.
I have visions of how this is going to go. As a kid, did you ever like cut slits in a hot dog and put it in the microwave and it just turns into a circle?
Yeah. Turns inside out.
Yeah, I kind of feel
some
like
reason.
This is what's going to...
It's like the inside is going, what's out there?
Gross.
For some reason, the second you put one in a microwave. I never understood that.
Yep.
Let's get out of here. Down in the kitchen, Armin broke out his mother's fine china. He then laid the penis on another cutting board and cut it long ways into 2 halves. So he cut it the way you would. I don't know how you would cut anything like this. What's an example?
Hot dog bun.
A hot dog bun. He cut it long ways into 2 separate halves. And then he got ready to cook it. But Brandes stopped him and said, "I don't want to cook it. I want my half raw."
I don't think he does.
And I feel like Brandes should get the bigger half.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? It's his dick. It was his idea. Like he should, I think Armin should get the piece that Garfield leaves behind. You know how Garfield takes he's like, oh, he's going to eat a piece of cake. It was a running gag in Garfield. And then he cuts the slice of cake and then takes the cake instead of the slice that he cut. And it was like, oh, Garfield, you always take too much cake. I feel like that's how Brandes should have approached the dick. It's like, yeah, you can eat some of my dick, but it's my dick. I'm going to eat most of it.
Yeah.
So he's like, I want my side raw, my half raw. He grabs his raw half of his cock and immediately starts chewing on it, but he also found it to be too tough. And he's like, no, this has got to be cooked. This is too raw. So with blood in the corners of his mouth and hanging off the bottom of his lip, he's like, put this on the skillet. And here's where Armin really causes some disappointment up. You remember that time whenever you said it in the first episode and this episode, this is only a one and done thing. You can only enjoy this once.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
you gotta get it right.
Enjoy it once, but yeah, definitely, yeah.
You can only get this once.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to make sure the stars align. Armin burned the dick.
Oh, no.
He fried the 2 pieces of wiener way too long, overcooked them, and they ended up shriveling up and turning black.
Darn it.
So he's burned the dick. Just imagine if Gordon Ramsay is in this kitchen. And I wonder how Gordon Ramsay would prepare a cock.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he wouldn't, but what do I know?
They still tried to eat the burned dick, but they both found it to be too tough. And Brandes is like super disappointed, like, hey, I only got to do this once, and I'm bleeding out in this diaper, and you burned my dick. Like, I only got one shot at this, and you fucked it up. You fucking klutz. Even if I get to eat a dick, it's not my dick. I only ever had one chance, and you burned it. And I don't know, I've never cooked half of a dick, but I would probably simmer it in some olive oil. Like, bring some olive oil up on some medium heat. Probably hit it with some pepper and salt.
Yeah.
2 minutes on each side. Now, that's probably still too long. 1 minute on each side, and then hit it with a little bit of garlic and some butter. And just keep lapping that buttery garlic juice up onto the cock. And then I would let it sit for 5 minutes to breathe before cutting into it.
I don't have a comment. I don't know what to say.
Brandes says, quote, I can't wait to be mutilated again and eaten. So he's not talking about pieces of meat from his arms and legs, and he's still got his testicles.
Okay.
And that's when Armin responded, quote, if you hold out, we will eat your eggs for breakfast, unquote. And eggs is German slang for testicles.
Oh.
Unfortunately, though, Brandes is not going to make it to breakfast. He is now getting super cold, starting to shiver. He's weak from blood loss, booze, cold medication, and sleeping pills. That's when Armin said, oh, it looks like, because this is so far only satisfied Brandes's, the victim's fantasies. Armin still haven't even started yet. He's fantasizing about having the corpse and cutting it up and eating it. That's when Armin takes Brandes upstairs, fills up a bath with hot water, and helps him get in. Brandes lays back and relaxes in the water as the stump continued to spew blood and turn the bath water red. And also in the book, they said that apparently on a few occasions, the stump did start to stop bleeding and coagulate so that it would, but Brandes would take his finger and stick it up in there and open it up again so that it would keep bleeding because he loved to see the blood coming out of the stump of his cock. So within a few minutes, he's sitting in a bathtub of blood, pretty much. Armin leaves him to himself. He says, hey, I'm going to let you die. I'm going to go, I got some shit I got to do. Brandes is like, okay, cool. So Armin left him and went and watched TV. While Brandes sat in the bathtub, slowly dying. After 30 minutes, Armin heard him in there mumbling to himself, so he went and checked on him, and that's when Brandes looked at him and said, quote, you've no idea how good this feels. You've no idea how glad I am about this. It's the most pleasure I've ever had. It's what I always wanted. I don't want anything to remain of me. I want you to ground up my skull and my teeth so there is absolutely nothing left. I want to be completely annihilated. Unquote. If you're wondering how we know all this, such details about this part of the story, it's all recorded on video. Yeah. Like everything. The butt fucking, him trying to bite his dick. It's all on video. This was all played in court. And unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, depending on how you look at it, those videos have never been released publicly. But they were played in court. There was a total of 3 VHSs full. And I don't know how long a VHS records for. I would imagine 2 hours.
Yeah.
So 6 hours of footage of them two at the house.
Wow. So
he leaves him in the tub. And after 2 more hours, Armin asks Brandes, who, by the way, by now is going in and out of consciousness, if he wants to get out of the bathtub and lay in bed in the slaughter room. The water had turned cold. He's just laying in cold blood now, basically, in the bath. Brandes says, sure. And that's when Armin lets him throw an arm around his shoulder and helps him weakly to the bed in the slaughter room. He wanted to take him to the slaughter room so that he could easily get the body onto the butcher table. Once he lays Brandes down, he goes back downstairs. Armin does, and waits for him to die while reading a Star Trek novel. Star Trek. Never got into that show.
Star Trek?
Get it. Yeah.
Yeah. You see, you're a Star Wars guy.
Not a Star Wars guy either.
Yeah.
I love space and aliens and all that stuff. It's just neither one of those two things ever really tickled my fancy. After about an hour of reading his Star Trek novel, he goes back upstairs and checks on Brandes again. This time, Brandes is propped up on one of his elbows on his side in the bed, and that's when he tells Armin he has to piss. He needs to go piss. He feels this buildup in his bladder. He has to piss, and he needs help to the bathroom. Armin pretty much drags Brandes to the bathroom where he props him up against the wall and watches in fascination as a stream of piss just shoots out of the bloody stump where his penis used to be. And I would imagine it's probably like, whoa, whoa, like little boys are, like say a 9-year-old whenever he's trying to pee, just peeing all over the back of the toilet. I've heard that's what they do.
Now he's got no aim, so...
Yeah, he can't aim it because it's just shooting out of it. Imagine if you just got up in the morning and started peeing out of your belly button. That's how this would feel. You'd be like, whoa, it's going everywhere.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
After he's done peeing, Armin takes Brandes back to bed. And this is when Brandes tells Armin that he's going to die soon. He can feel it. He's shivering. He's very weak and everything, the blood loss, everything. He's like, I'm going to die soon. I can feel it. And that's when Armin asked him if he has any last requests. And Brandes responds, quote, yes, I know of one you can do for me. I want you to wait until I've lost consciousness, and then I want you to slash my throat. Only after I'm unconscious, not beforehand. I've lost so much blood that I don't think it will be much longer before I pass out. You don't have to wait much longer now, my friend, for your flesh. Unquote. At 3:30 in the morning, 10 hours after getting his cock cut off, 10 hours after drinking half a bottle of schnapps, 2 bottles of medicine, and 20 sleeping pills, Burn Brandes finally went unconscious. I don't know anybody else. Yeah, Jess is clapping. I don't know anybody else that could run 10 hours after doing all that.
Yeah.
If I take a melatonin, I'm snoring.
Well, not only that, but just to mention the trauma. That's just the trauma of the whole thing.
This isn't traumatic for him.
Well,
this was euphoric.
It's got to be. I mean, it's stressful in another way.
Yeah, you can only do it once. It's a lot of stress, a lot of pressure, and then that schmutz burned it.
Yeah, I mean, that could keep you up at night.
You only had one shot, one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted, and then somebody else let it slip. Armin excitedly, so he sees, hey, he's went unconscious. It's go time. It's my turn to get my nut. Because they've been chasing Brandes' nut for 10 hours. They've been chasing his his orgasm for 10 hours. Armin's like, okay, he's went unconscious. It's my turn, which is a very frat boy way of looking at it. You get it? Because he's unconscious. He's like, okay, now it's my turn for an orgasm.
Yeah, I get it. That's scary.
Sleeping pills finally worked. It's time to get my nut. Armin excitedly changed into his slaughter uniform. And if you're like, well, what was his slaughter uniform? Well, let me tell you. It was a pair of blue pajamas with his mother's sheet for an apron. And then he picked up Brandes' limp body from the bed, spread it out on the butcher table, and prayed. And we actually have Brandes' prayer here verbatim because of the video that exists. This is all on video. And his prayer went like this, quote, Burned Jurgen Brandes was, as far as I knew him, a good man and was intelligent and kind. May he be remembered as such. He chose, can you guys Can you guys bow your heads?
I'm sorry.
There you go. Thank you.
I have neck problems.
Bernd
right
Jürgen Brandes was as far... Don't look up, Jess.
Jess is seriously doing it.
If you could be respectful. Bernd Jürgen Brandes was, as far as I knew him, a good man and was intelligent and kind. May he be remembered as such. He chose to give me a great gift, and for that I will be eternally grateful. Please, God, forgive me for the act I'm about to carry out. I don't know how it looks in your all-seeing eyes, but I hope you understand why I'm doing it. I plead forgiveness for my sins, and particularly for the sin I'm about to commit. Amen.
What an odd thing to think, I should throw in a prayer during all this. Like, just, oh no.
That's when he's got Brandes splayed out on the butcher table. Armin picks up a 7-inch kitchen knife and buries it into Brandes' throat. He then pulls it out and buries it again and again and again. The entire killing process lasted about 3 minutes, stabbing him in the throat. Brandes is now dead. That's when Armin uses the pulley that he had hung on the ceiling to suspend the corpse upside down from a meat hook so that he could gut it and clean it. Kind of like a deer, same way you would with a deer. Mm-hmm. Now, cannibal websites call this method the Gein configuration because of Ed Gein and how they found the body of that old lady in the shed. This is called the Gein configuration. He then cut the head off and set Brandes' head on the butcher table facing his corpse that was being taken apart so that he could watch himself be butchered. It's what he would have wanted. It's what he would have wanted, and that's very sweet. He then skinned and butchered the body and took pictures of the process as well as pictures of the severed feet. And I thought this was funny. He took pictures of the severed feet in particular so that he could post them online because there were a lot of cannibal foot fetish guys. And by the way, Armin Meiwes thought feet were gross. He just wanted to help these foot fetish cannibal guys. He thought they were weird.
So he's dead at this point, like dead. And
Hold on. He thought they were weird.
Yeah.
He thought the foot fetish guys were weird.
You know.
You like what? What a freak.
Everybody thinks their community is normal.
I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Well, I was just going to say, like, I was kind of expecting Brandes to, like, jump up or something when he started stabbing him in the neck, but he's dead. He's as dead as now that I think about it, he's as dead as the Granite Lady. Have you ever heard of the Granite Lady?
No.
San Francisco, 1894, there was the San Francisco coin mint was known as the Granite Lady.
For a long time, we called Jess the Granite Lady.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you were doing a coin fact, and I was getting mad about it. Carry on.
It's fine. It's fine. I understand. This is a mint, actual mint. The whole mint was called the Granite Lady.
Right.
Deadly accident, late 19th century. Right. Steam-powered coin press. Used to strike the coins. Yep. Its malfunction caused a part of the machinery to explode. Struck a worker.
Boom.
Killed him. Just like that.
Actually, that's it.
Yep. Yeah, he died. The guy died.
That's actually an interesting coin fact.
Yeah, Granite Lady. Very popular mint press. Steam-powered, blew up, killed a guy.
How many copies did they get off before it killed a guy?
Oh, a lot. A lot.
Oh, okay.
I think what would be cool is the ones that were from that pressing right then. I'll bet you if you could figure that out, those would be worth something.
Yeah. Faux show.
Yeah. Huh. Crazy history.
Armin buried the parts that he wasn't going to eat in the garden in his backyard. The only thing he kept was the head and all the meat. Back inside, he put the meat in Ziploc bags labeled rump, steak, filet, ham, and bacon, and then put them underneath his freezer, underneath a frozen pizza and on top of a dead rat.
On top of a dead rat?
Yeah, there was a dead rat in the bottom of the... There's a picture of this, too. A dead rat in the bottom of the freezer. He just laid all this meat that he's going to eat, human meat, on top of a dead rat. And I think that's gross.
Why would you allow a dead... Okay, then again, this is Armin Meiwes. I just don't know.
From the body of Brandes, he got a total of 44 pounds of meat. That's a pretty good haul.
Yeah.
For one human.
I feel like that's like my one thigh, my one leg and a haunch.
Yeah, that's my ass.
I was gonna say, yeah, we're bigger than this guy.
I'm kidding. That's not. I got like 3 pounds of ass. My lower back starts at the top of my thighs.
You're built like Stimpy.
Yep. Over the next 10 months, I said 10 months, Armin Meiwes ate the corpse in various dishes with Brussels sprouts, mushrooms, garlic, peppercorns, and various other vegetables. He made pot roasts. He made meatballs. He deep fried some of it. Occasionally, he would just sear it in olive oil. He even brought it to work with him and ate it next to his fellow employees on his lunch break.
Wow.
When he was at home and he ate the pieces of Brandes, he would always remove the head from the freezer and sit it on the table so that Brandes could watch him eat the pieces of the body. And according to Armin, like I believe I said in part 1, it all tasted just like pork. He also regularly jerked off to the VHS cassettes of the butchering of Brandes. And by November, 10 months later, he's already posting on the cannibalism websites again looking for another victim. This ad read, quote, "Slaughter Boy Sought. Are you between 18 and 25 years old, healthy and with a normal build? Do you want to end your life, but you want something decent to come out of you? Then come to me. I will slaughter you and worship your body in delicious schnitzel and steaks. Those interested should apply with details of age, height, and weight, ideally with a photo. Sincerely, Frankie, the Master Butcher."
You got to, and maybe you're gonna talk about this, maybe not. I don't know, but like you do something on this level, you've got to go into those forums and brag about it, right?
Yeah,
like
because a lot of them are all talk, baby. They're like you're like people with anal. You know, they're all like, "Yeah, we're hitting this artichoke dip is delicious, and we'll do anal tonight." But then time comes, back out. That's how 99% of people are. He's one of the few people on this website that have actually done it.
Yeah.
He was a god on this website. Now, a few more men did answer that ad. A few even showed up at Armin's house. And I like these little series of antics that, for instance, one thought he was down with going through with it until Armin had him strewn out on the butcher's bench. And that's when the guy changed his mind.
I can see this part of the Hollywood remake of this, where it's sort of like the rapid action scene of them interviewing the babysitter, and they get all the characters, you know. I spank the children every week. I'll spank them all the time. Okay, thanks. Yeah, we'll call you. You know, just cranking through all the options. I can see this as like, you know, fun music's playing.
It's all the same person playing the characters, Robin Williams. This first guy, he backed out when he actually got him on the bench. He's like, "Oh, you're for reals. Like, you're actually gonna kill me and eat me." He's like, "Yeah, thought that's what we agreed to." And then when he backed out, which Armin was fine with, he wanted all his victims to be willing participants. They then just ordered pizza and ate pizza together awkwardly in the living room.
Weird. Also, if I were Armin, I'd be like, "Bro, you knew what was going on. What are you doing? What are you doing?"
Wouldn't you love to just be able to watch that though? That like after that happened, them just like, pizza's. I mean, I've had worse. Pretty good pizza. You order here often? Armin's like, Yeah, I don't know, like once a week. So I reckon I better head out.
Oh my gosh.
You want to meet up next? No? Okay. Thanks for the pizza. You drove me here? Could you... Another guy showed up claiming that he was all into wanting to be killed and slaughtered and eaten. But when he got into the slaughter room, he changed his mind. Not because he suddenly was scared or anything, but in the corner of the slaughter room, for whatever reason, Armin had made a cage that was about 2 foot tall for role playing and weird sexual stuff. And when this dude saw the cage, he completely changed the script. He's like, I don't want to do the cannibalism thing anymore. I want to pretend to be a little piggy, and I'll get in the cage, and you can feed me bread and vegetables on the floor, and I'll eat them. And they did that, and then Armin sent him on his way.
I'm just seeing, Armin's probably like, man, this is starting to cost me a lot of money and food. Just keep feeding these guys.
Another guy showed up, way fatter than the pictures he had sent Armin. And Armin refused to decapitate and eat him because he had been catfished.
Naturally.
And I would love to have seen that on Nev showing up like, hey, what's up? I'm Nev with Catfish. He was wanting to decapitate and eat your cock. And turns out you're fat, bro. Yeah, I didn't think it would hurt him. You know, I didn't know it was going to be this far. Like, in the beginning, it was love. It was real love, Armin. It was like, I really loved it. If you could if you could be willing to look past my fat and still eat my cock, like, I am down with being decapitated. And Armin's crying. He's sitting at a picnic table with Neve. I just don't know. I don't know. It's like, update. Armin's in prison. Hey, Armin, how you doing, buddy? He's in the orange. Hey, what's up? Yeah, we tried to talk it out. But, right now we're just going to stay friends. I'm not going to eat his cock. For now, maybe when I get out, I don't know. We'll have to see where the road goes and then roll credits. If you or someone you know is being catfished. And now we're to the part where he gets busted. And what ended up getting Armin Meiwes caught was boasting up, like you were talking about.
Okay.
On the internet, he got a little loose-lipped. In the chat rooms, on the forums, he began posting the pictures of Brandeses being butchered. And on July 9th, 2001, a university student comes across Armin's ads and postings and reports him to the Federal Criminal Police Office in Wiesbaden, the capital of the German state of Hesse. He tells the police everything and shows them everything. He took screenshots, caught links, sent them everything. And then the police kind of follow Armin's online presence for the next 5 months and kind of start investigating him, and eventually discover that Frankie is Armin Meiwes of Westerfeld, and all this is legit. And on December 10th, 2002, at 8:45 a.m., there comes a knock at Armin's door, and it is the investigators who come a-knocking. And they arrest him. His home is searched. They find body parts. They find the head. They find the videotapes of the killings. Pretty shortly after being arrested, Armin is diagnosed with schizoid personality disorder, but deemed fit to stand trial. And on January 30th, 2004, he is convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to 8 years and 6 months in prison.
What?
8 years and 6 months in prison. Here's a funny thing that's true. While he was in prison, Armin Meiwes became a vegetarian.
Double what? What? Kidding. No way. What?
In April of 2005, however, the German courts order a retrial after the prosecutors appealed Armin's sentence, arguing that he should have been convicted of murder, not manslaughter, because he killed for sexual gratification. This wasn't euthanasia. And the court ruled that the original trial had ignored the significance of the video in proving that he had killed for sexual gratification as opposed to just helping somebody kill themselves because he took the video in order to masturbate with it. At the retrial, a psychologist stated that Armin could reoffend as he, quote, still had fantasies about devouring the flesh of young people.
Yeah,
unquote.
and outstanding ads that were probably still in circulation. I mean, hello.
On May 10th, 2006, a court in Frankfurt convicts Armin of murder and sentences him to life in prison. And that is where Armin Meiwes will die. As of 2020, Armin is allowed to go outside of prison for supervised excursions in disguise around town. In prison, he works regularly in the laundry room and attends church every chance he gets. In 2023, his old house, that old 30-room farmhouse, was burned to the ground in an arson attack. And that is where, at least for now, the story of Armin Meiwes ends. He is in prison as we speak, eating a vegetarian diet.
Wow. It's crazy. You know, and this all happened before the dark web, so or before it really kicked into gear. So I wonder how many Armins there are out there now. You know, just successful Armins that clarify that aren't politicians. You know,
I don't know, but if you find me on torturenet.net, I am Tommy Toe Tags.
Oh, man.
So we said in the part one that we're going to have a very short conversation about should he die in prison. My opinion is no. Because Armin was very, 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 very concrete in the aspect that he did not want non-compliant victims. Everybody needed to be on the same page. There were even cases like we saw where multiple people were released when they changed their mind.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this man should die in prison.
Like, you think are you saying he shouldn't have life in prison? Is that what
I don't think
you're
he should get life. I think like 8 years was fair. Like, hey, don't eat any more dicks. Don't ever eat another dick.
Well, it's weird.
And then if he eats another dick, give him 4 more years.
What's so odd about it now is like Canada, Today Canada 2024 casts a different light on these kinds of things. They're like, you know, they're opening the gates for assisted suicide and they're like adding more bullet points to the list of acceptable reasons to put somebody down.
Where do you stand on assisted suicide?
I think I stand. I'm pretty. I don't think the government should get involved in a whole heck of a lot. Yeah. I think the whole point of the government is to protect our rights, and government is in play. Government should be small for that reason, and so government establishing anything that gives them the ability to determine who and how they should die, I think should be left to war crimes, you know, and crime and criminals.
I don't think war crimes should be a thing.
You really don't?
I mean, in extreme, like we shouldn't be raping people and stuff, but like when those 3 Marines were caught pissing on the dead Taliban,
yeah,
like, and they were just crucified online, like, really? It's war.
Well,
like,
let me ask you
people
this.
do shitty things in war, and it's like, come on. Like, you know, minutes earlier, those people were trying to kill their friends and them. Like, it's easy for people to be like, you shouldn't behave that way in war, when nobody, and it's always people that have never been to war, like telling you how to behave and how to It's easy to say that from the comfort of your air-conditioned room, watching, you know, Rick and Morty and trying to sign up for protests. Like, this is how I would act. You don't know how you would act, bitch.
When you're a soldier, let me ask you this: do they provide you with, as part of your training or anything? Do Do they give you information on what is considered a war crime, or is it all?
Yeah, you're very aware of what is and isn't okay. Like even like war trophies.
Yeah.
That was a big thing in World War II, Vietnam.
Right.
Not even possible to get back home now. You get shaken down like 3 times before you even get on the plane to come back home after a deployment to check specifically for war trophies. So not a thing anymore. But yeah, I mean, we shouldn't be like raping and burning down innocent villages. But like those 3 Marines that got caught pissing on the dead Taliban, they should have got a slap on the wrist and then sent back to their unit.
I think the hard thing about war crimes is it really requires the ones that follow them are the civilized countries. There's countries that don't provide a civil set of laws to govern their people. They don't follow them the same, and so the only people that are following them are the law-abiding countries. And that makes it harder. So if you're going after a barbaric, extremist organization who they don't care about what they're doing to you.
Yeah.
I could see how that would be more challenging for the soldiers involved when they end up winning a conflict to not turn about and, FAFO,
I don't know, man. I don't see anything wrong with. I don't see anything. Let me change. I want to rephrase that. I see the wrong in what Armin Meiwes did, but I would not say that it's like irredeemable or like he seemed like the kind of. Am I defending a cannibal? I think I am. I'm okay with that. I'm gonna lean into this.
Okay.
He never hurt anybody that was innocent or that didn't want to be hurt. He never killed anybody that wasn't a willing volunteer, and he was adamant about that. Let the guy go. That's what I think. And I do want to say that, I don't mean to interrupt this, but I just now looked at the messages. And Jess is cracking up now. And I don't know what, but just random messages that she's wrote throughout while we were recording this. One, at 10:27 p.m., she wrote, "Do you think the skin is like chicken skin?" I don't know what she was referring to with that.
She's just talking to herself in the chat. What the heck?
A little bit later, it says, "Marinate it first." And then the last message, just talking to herself, it says, "Do you think a woman's eggs would taste like fish eggs that are on sushi rolls?"
Oh my gosh. Like women have just salmon roe in their fallopian tubes. I don't think they're smaller than that. Wow, Jess. Wow.
Bigger. It's just like an apple-sized piece of orange
if you're
roe.
ovulating. Oh my gosh.
Like a giant gusher.
Okay, so here I'll tell you. I don't want to give tips to cannibals, but I think the argument could be made: should he come back into trial? Well, he won't. But if a similar crime was committed, the argument could be made that he did no due diligence to ensure that the person that he was working with was of sound mind. And so any research that prosecution did to say, oh, well, you never looked into the mental history of Brandes. Here's what he was.
I understand why he's in prison for the rest of his life.
I'm just saying, if you're a smart cannibal and you want to do this, I would make that part of your routine. I'd be like, we'll have an independent mental evaluation to make sure you're of sound mind, and then we'll go through with this because I don't want to go to prison.
And no, I won't entertain you walking around on all fours like a little piggy and me feeding you bread. We came here for one reason. We're not going to switch the script up. I'm not ordering fucking pizza.
Yep,
Change your mind.
We're going to do it. We're going to do this all in Ottawa.
I understand why he's in prison. I just don't know that I don't know that a life sentence is justice.
In your mind, you would argue this may fall into the realm of two consenting adults.
Yes.
Kind of. Okay.
Yes. Exactly. And if somebody wants to die, who am I to say that you, especially when they're so so detailed in how they want to die, and it seemed like he was so dead set on dying. At least he got somebody fed off of him for 10 months.
Yeah, subsisted. Now, here's where things could get a little murky, actually, is how many cases have arisen where someone has died in the process of sexual encounter with erotic asphyxiation, and they've died, and the partner didn't go to prison. It was just considered an oops, took it too far, and how does
that's happened quite a bit, hasn't it?
Right. And so if that's how that goes, who's to say that?
I think the difference in that is that's manslaughter because death was never on the table in the first place. Like nobody ever wanted to die. It was
what I'm saying is I think there are cases where that's happened and nobody's gone to prison. It's just considered an accident.
Jess says there are no laws in the United States except for California that make cannibalism illegal.
California's the only one? California has a law against cannibalism?
God, they need to wake up. It's 2024.
Yeah, gosh.
Cannibalism. California's still in the Stone Age. It's so likely.
Wow.
That's all I've got up.
I got one more question for you. If you had to guess, which state in the United States do you think has the most cannibalism?
Most cannibalism. Montana?
I was going to go either like a place like vast tracts of land, lonely people, all that, or like just the most compressed suburbia or urban environment. It's got to be one of the two.
Jess says, what about eating animals other than the normal pork, chicken, etc.?
That to me is a cultural thing. You can go to Italy and find horse meat on any.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to any meat. You ever seen that PETA billboard sign that says "Where does food start?" and pets begin, and it's like got a cow, and then it goes and it ends up like all the way to the end, depending on how hungry I am
and what country you're in too. I mean, PETA is a little narrow-minded in that instance where they're just speaking to one country. It's sort of like when Greta Thunberg starts talking about climate problems and she's ignoring India and China. It's like,
look, man, I've joked a lot about how much meat we bury every year, but how many homeless people could you feed just with human bodies? Like how many people die every year? And how much meat do we just toss in the ground and waste? It's like kills two birds with one stone. Hunger and where to put bodies.
There's an essay that was written by Jonathan Swift back in the 1700s called A Modest Proposal. And it's satire. But basically, he made the case in Ireland that because he thought the government was ridiculous in their laws and everything, but it proposed that the country fix poverty by butchering the children of Irish poor and selling them as food to wealthy English landlords. So,
see, I'm against that.
He's like, come on, we can solve poverty. You guys, you're not thinking hard enough. He was making a joke because the way he saw.
I'm fucking not.
I know you're
making
not.
a joke.
You made that very clear.
Jess says probably bad meat, though, since it's dead. Well, in my head, you would have to sign it on your driver's license. It would be like, how you're an organ donor? It's like, hey, I want to be eaten. Like,
D
and then
and
if you, so if you get you get in a car wreck, they're like, the coroner comes with a meat wagon and they harvest you right there on the side of the road. Like,
there's
and obviously
steak emoji on your driver's license.
You would obviously sign up for this. Let's not be ridiculous.
Yeah, of course. Well, I'm
Are you guys organ donors?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, me too. Very important to me.
I'm interested to see what's going to happen in part 3. Can't wait.
There's not a part 3. That is it. I will say this. There's going to be a TCK case file coming out on Patreon this week and on 1159mediaplus.com. And if you love TCK but like fucking hate op,
Yeah.
it's perfect for you because it's just me talking.
Yeah.
There's no coin facts. I was doing the edit on part 1 of this today, and I don't know, like halfway through part 1, it sounded like you started eating a bowl of macaroni and cheese. I don't know what the fuck. It was like the slimy. Are you either that or you were fingering a dead hooker?
Neither
I don't
one of
know.
those
It was
things.
like you were eating something just like the wettest. I don't know if you got a bowl of spaghetti.
I thought
It was
I
definitely a soup.
thought I'd muted myself during that. I've been more than anyone. I've been stumping for you to do a solo thing because I just know I'm dead weight. Let's be honest. So I am the biggest fan of TCK case files, and I'm just really excited you're doing them. They're really cool.
Well, thank you for joining me, guys.
5 stars.
And I love you guys.
Love you too.
I would, and if you asked me to butcher you and eat you, I would.
Deal.
So,
So.
bye.